she scans patients up at the hospital, we thought she caught COVID. So on the 4th of April, she texted me saying, I'm really struggling to breathe. And I said, Zoe, whatever time it is, you call me and I'll take you to hospital. But she called my mum, I think early hours. And then about 11:30 at night, she phoned up really screaming in pain. So I took her up to the hospital and she stayed all night. And then in the morning, they took her down for her CT scan. And she phoned me on the way back to the ward and she said, Mum, Graham, which was her boss, Graham's done my CT scan. She said, and I saw he's crying.
She knew the severity of what she saw. Where she worked in the radiology team, I think she understood what she saw. I was sat in my garden and she phoned me. She just said, I've had a scan, I've got cancer and I'm going to die.
I couldn't actually have children. I had endometriosis, so I'd been having lots and lots of treatment and even like test tube babies. None of it ever worked. And I sort of got to 30 and I thought, I'm going to have to give up. I've had 7 operations, so I'll give up and maybe give a year or 2 look at adopting. And then that very month I gave up, I found out I was pregnant naturally. To me, my children were always like my gift from God. You know, he listened, he saw what I went through for all those years and then thought, right, you're ready now. I'm giving you your children. But Zoe, before she was born, I'd gone to the donkey sanctuary along what used to be along Forest Road, and they had a fete to raise money. And this fortune teller came up and spoke to me, and she said, oh, I really want to talk to you. Well, I just want to tell you you're pregnant. Do you know you're pregnant? And I said, yeah, I do know actually, I've just found out. It was kind of early days. And she said, I know all about this baby and I want to talk to you about her. She goes, and she's a girl, and I hope you don't mind me telling you, she goes, but she's going to be very, very spirited, very sort of gifted and spirited. And she said, oh boy, you're going to know you've got her in your life when she comes.
Zoe had her own character. She was opinionated, but in a nice way, fiery, but she also had this soft, loving nature as well.
She had a heart of gold always for animals and for people, but teachers would have described her as spiritful, and she had a lot of spirit is what they said.
She was very loud. She liked to be heard. She liked to mess my room up from watching me tidy it up. But yeah, she was fun, and we could tell each other anything, me and her. Every single day to me was just wonderful, wonderful memories.
So Zoe was on her 500th diet of the month, and she said, I'm just going to go and get a cream egg just to treat myself, one little treat. So I said, okay. So she went off and she came back and she had 20 because they were only 10p each, so she rounded them up. She had £2 coins. So she was like, it's fine, I'm just going to have 20. So yeah, that was Zoe. That was typical Zoe.
I remember how well she used to, she was always my greatest supporter, and she always stuck up for me, so that's why I got on with her particularly well. But yeah, her laugh, just the way she was, yeah, there's endless amounts of memories.
She absolutely adored her children and her family.
Everything she did in life was for her boys, and it showed. Everybody knew it, and I think as a mum, that's all you can kind of ask for.
There was just so many times that we would go out together with the kids, and it always ended up in a laugh.
We're inseparable. I mean, I moved away when I was 18, and there'd be times when obviously we didn't get to see each other or we didn't get to speak, and as soon as we saw each other it was like no time passed. It was like you'd seen her 5 minutes ago.
Like, she was like the bestest friend you could ever wish for. Like, we all have this vision of a best friend. Hers was that, like, she was that vision that I always wanted.
She was almost like gravity. The world revolved around Zoe, and she pulled everyone together. There were people from all different friendship groups, family, netball groups, old friends, new friends, high school, primary school, You name it, Zoe had friends in 1,000 different circles. She was the glue that held everyone together.
So I have a mole in exactly the same spot as Zoe's. I think her trousers irritated hers because we used to say when we were younger, like we were like twins because we had the same mole. And I know Zoe went because it started bleeding her one. But she had been reporting this mole, we found out after, from about 5 years before, and it just kept getting she just kept getting told by the doctors it was just a skin tag and it would be absolutely fine, and the only reason it bled is because her jeans rubbed on it. So they dismissed her. She then went back again because it was causing her issues again, and I said, well Zoe, mine doesn't do that. They didn't listen again. And then they said if it's bothering you, just have it cosmetically removed so you're not itching it anymore. So she got told not to worry, so she didn't worry, paid to have it removed. But I do remember Zoe calling 2 weeks after it was removed and asked them what the result was, and they said we don't test moles. But she thought that's what they do, but they didn't. It was on the 4th of April, which is a Friday morning. Because every morning when she drove to work and every day when she drove home, she always called me. We always chatted while she was driving to work and driving home. And she'd called in the morning and she was going, oh Mum, I'm really, really sick, I'm really ill, I feel ill, my stomach is really hurting, my side's hurting. So I took her up to the hospital and she stayed all night, and they did a scan on her and said to her, we think you've got sepsis and your gallbladder looks like it's something wrong with your gallbladder, so we're going to keep you in over all night in hospital and do another CT scan in the morning.
The next morning, well, she sent me a Snapchat actually about 2:30 in the morning. She was laying there in hospital in a hospital gown with a mask on.
And then they scanned her and obviously the cancer was found. And just said Zoe's liver is full of cancer, and they needed to do some biopsies on the lymph nodes, which they were going to do on the Monday morning. Took her back Monday morning to do her lymph nodes, and then on the Thursday they phoned up and said, yeah, it's cancer, Zoe, and it's secondary cancer in your liver, and it's melanoma, it started from a mole on your body.
It just went from 0 to 100. We really didn't expect. It's the last thing you expect for a healthy young lady.
Dr. King and Graham, her bosses from the radiography, arranged for her to have immune therapy over at Portsmouth, and we went to meet the oncologist over there.
I remember Eileen went with her to the mainland, which was just shortly after. I think Zoe knew before, to be honest, in her mind and through what her work colleagues had told her, but it certainly didn't kick into Eileen until they actually went to the mainland to see the specialist over there, and they actually said the words that this is terminal.
The oncologist just said to her, Zoe, you've got stage 4 melanoma cancer and it's terminal. And not just sitting there thinking, no, you've got that wrong. No, you've got that wrong. And she said, oh, we're going to do some immune therapy on you, which, could hopefully sort of help and give you, could give you a couple more years. So they did start the immune therapy the week after, but obviously she only had 1 dose of that, and she had really severe reactions to it. And it was really, as they explained after, it was too late. It was the, as the doctors down at the Lighthouse Clinic said, she said to me, I've never seen someone walk in here who looked so beautiful and so well be so ill. And she said, I just wanted to give her every chance she had, have a little bit more time with her boys. But I mean, obviously that didn't work.
Her main wishes, like after dying, was to make sure her boys are okay. That was her biggest thing. Theo and Toby, she just was, every time they come into conversation and the thoughts about them, it's like, I want them to be happy, I want them to be okay, and I want people to look after them.
Zoe said when she's going to find it easy to let go when it's time, because she knew her boys had a great support around them, like their dad's amazing. She said that, like all of us, but she really wished that she wasn't dying. She said, I wish I was still here. I wish the doctors listened to me years ago, so then I won't miss out on my children growing up.
She made me promise to try and keep everyone together, to keep in contact with her mum and her sister. Sorry. She was very adamant she didn't want anyone to go through what she had to.
It's just not fair. It wasn't her fault. She did nothing wrong. She put her trust and her belief into experts, as anyone would. And they let her down. And it wasn't just once, it was so many times that she was let down.
It seems like it's a tick box exercise now. And that was her main issues, is through her experience of raising concerns about what was going on or what she thought might have been happening with the mole and whatever. It was always along those lines of, well, you're young, you're fine, don't worry about it. It's tick box, I've got to see X amount of people today, 10 minute slot, in, out, let's go. Rather than actually listening and trying to understand what's going on with someone. I think that was the main issues she found. I think unfortunately for Zoe, when she found out she was ill, it was too late.
She did say, you know, make sure you bring, like, try to bring as much awareness as you can so no one else goes through, like, what not so much what she was going through, but what her boys would go through losing her.
It's so important that Zoe's story is heard, because nobody should have to go through what she did and what her family did. No one should have to lose their mummy, their daughter, their sister, their friend. It could have been prevented, it should have been prevented, and that's what Zoe's Law is about.
So if you have anything removed cosmetically, it should be tested, not binned.
Don't be embarrassed, shy, or feel silly for going to the doctors, even if you've been only a week ago and you're still not satisfied and you're still worried or concerned about something. Just go back down, get a second, third, even fourth opinion, whatever it takes for you to feel okay and reassured.
Everybody knows their own body better than what any GP does. If you feel that something's wrong, then just keep badgering them. I wish that 5 years ago, I wish that had happened with Zoe, but it didn't, so that's all you've got to do, is just keep pushing for it.
We put a lot of stuff on Facebook. One of Zoe's friends, Leah, she started Zoe's Law, trying to bring awareness to everyone and get it out as far as we can and as wide as we can.
I created some car window stickers with Zoe's Law written on, sunflowers obviously, with a live QR code, so when it's scanned it takes them directly to the petition which Stuart set up.
I mean, I set up the petition originally myself, and it was easy to start with. You know, the numbers were going up in the thousands very, very quickly.
We'd done a lot of work at the start, I guess, you know, the BBC and Sun and all the global papers and stuff jumped on it and they shared the story. I think the problem with anything like this, Zoe's death, is the start, everyone's on board, they're trying to help, they're trying to share it and raise awareness. I think then people get this assumption that, okay, they're okay now, you know, it's okay now, it's done, it's, you know. The reality is we're a year and a half on, and that, you know, Zoe only lived for 26 years. So I think for us, we just need everyone to help, sharing, raising awareness. Like I said, it doesn't have to be melanoma related. Obviously, this is what it's specifically about. However, it doesn't matter what illness it refers to. If you can help someone avoid this, then it's better. So for us, our aim in achieving awareness is doing things like this, trying to share the story, keep the awareness going. But we need support of people, local, nationally. We need support of individuals to help us push this story. Because, like I said, I think people get the assumption that it's done, it's gone, it's a year and a half later, everyone's okay now. Well, no, it's still happening. People still need help and people still need the support out there.
And the more signatures we get, you know, we're going to be listened to, and then hopefully this law will be changed. And if it weren't for Zoe, actually, I'd be in a worse state than I am now, because a year ago today I had surgery to have cancer removed because they actually listened after she's gone. But they should have listened before. She saved me.